The World Health Organization says there's no reason to stop the use of the Oxford AstraZeneca coronavirus vaccine. The statement comes after Bulgaria, Romania and Thailand joined 3 Scandinavian countries in suspending inoculations with this particular vaccine. They were reacting to reports of blood clots in some people who'd received the shot, although there is no evidence of any link.
We can say that, yes, blood clots are happening after vaccination, but they're almost certainly not caused by the vaccinations.
There's nothing to suggest a causal link between clots and the vaccine, so there seems no reason to be worried about either vaccine being used in the UK rollout.
AstraZeneca admits COVID vaccine can cause rare side effect. They're currently admitted in court for the first time that the COVID jab can cause a deadly blood clotting side effect.
AstraZeneca has told a British court that its COVID vaccine can cause a rare side effect, which can lead to blood clots and low platelet count. The company is currently facing a barrage of class action suits in the UK.
Why does the Indian news?
But there's real pain.
You do it in Indian.
Grocery
I like the Indian people.
prices
I'm
are
just
up
wondering. That's all.
30%, more than 30%, since the beginning of the pandemic, and people are spending more on food and groceries than they have at any time, really, in the past 30 years. I mean, that's a real day-to-day pain that people feel.
You ever crap yourself in front of the Pope?
And it's real. But the fact is that if you take a look at what the people have, they have the money to spend. It angers them and angers me that you have to spend more. For example, the whole idea of this notion that Senator Casey talked about, shrinkflation. I think it's on your
Same
program.
price for a smaller bottle of juice or
Well,
something.
for example, Snickers bar, they did a thing, and it's like 20% less for the same price. That's corporate greed. That's corporate greed.
Good night, everyone.
Hey, say your words, Joe. Say your words. Corporate greed. Take flight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a late night edition of News from the Pew. I am your host, Rick Barrett, and I am joined by the ever working and soon to be mobile Steve Cunningham.
Well, he said circus.
Yeah,
so let's get the circus going.
Christopher said it. He wants the circus. He wants the show.
Circus.
Here you go, buddy.
Clown has entered the building.
What they want. We do. We absolutely do. So,
broke something, but we're moving anyway. So I don't know.
Better late is better than no. Yeah, between all of this, Steve's moving and all this other kind of stuff. I couldn't do it yesterday because I had a bunch of other stuff I had to do. So people should be privileged because even though Steve, he stays up until the sun comes up the next day, and then he gets 15 minutes of sleep like Buddy the Elf. I go to bed at 10. I am an old man. I go to bed,
really?
So I start to, absolutely. Because I'm up at 4, Steve. You go to bed when I wake up. So
I get people waking. I had a little person wake me up at 4 today.
Yeah. I can't do it, man.
Too. That was fun.
I just don't have your stamina. Maybe because I don't ground myself.
Like you do, energy drinks, ground. Jocko drinks. I think Jocko puts cocaine in his. I don't know.
Yeah. If I had an energy drink now, I wouldn't be able to fall asleep till Sunday. So that's just something I'm not planning to do.
Well, the grounding, I've been able to get away from the hardcore energy drinks. Like right now, if you give me, I forget the name, like the big dogs you see at the 7-Elevens, I'd probably turn into cornholio going, hey, TV. That'd be me right now. But Jocko one's not to get me go. It's actually like, taking it back a little bit. It keeps me from doing this at the computer. Yeah,
well, I mean, when you're working all those hours a day, brother, you are an inspiration to us all. Not me though. I am not. So we got some stuff to talk about today and kind of wrap up your week for you. And the first thing we'll get to is, I guess we'll get the political stuff out of there. We'll talk about Trump and his impeachment stuff, because that's not impeachment, his trial stuff that's still taking place, and all the ridiculous nature and how this thing is just being dragged through the mud, and it's just it's just typical American TV. So shouldn't shock us at all.
Joe Biden's currently withholding military aid to our ally Israel in the middle of a war against Hamas because of political pressure from radical students. Right now, Israel's on the cusp of going into Rafah in southern Gaza, the final battle of the war.
Chill, Jesse,
Hamas
chill.
is entrenched
Chill,
among the Palestinian
Jesse,
civilian population, has nowhere else to go, and still refuses to return hostages or agree to a ceasefire. And just moments ago on CNN, Joe Biden threw the protesters a bone, declaring that Israel would never receive these American weapons if aid went into Rafah.
Right.
Watch.
I made it clear that if they go into Rafah, they haven't gone into Rafah yet. If they go into Rafah, I'm not supplying the weapons that have been used historically to deal with Rafah, to deal with the cities, to deal with that problem. It's just wrong. We're not going to supply the weapons and the artillery shells used that have been used.
Artillery shells as well.
Yeah, artillery shells.
The weapons Biden's withholding have already been approved by Congress and are precision munitions, exactly what Israel needs to launch smart strikes against Hamas targets with as little collateral damage as possible.
They have
exactly
leveled the entire city of Gaza, by the way.
Did he really just, this is the first time we've seen, did he really just say that?
I don't watch Fox News, so this doesn't shock me, but the fact, folks, you want to take a picture of Gaza right now, it pretty much looks like the rest of the desert.
There's a lady that does updates on how many kids are literally getting killed by this. I haven't seen a soldier yet.
And declared Israel's mission should be, remember?
Do you believe that Hamas must be eliminated entirely?
Yes, I do.
It's now clear that President Joe Biden's withholding military aid from an ally to help win an election. It's the exact same thing Democrats accused.
There's more.
The White House has been the most anti-Israel administration this nation has ever seen. Literally,
Ted, my ears did not hear that.
The White House has been the most anti-Israel administration this nation has ever seen.
How much more money they have to give Israel to become pro-Israel? How much fake money did they given most favored nation? Hundreds of millions. Well, they're the most least favorite. Get out.
Literally from day one.
When were you elected the senator of Jerusalem?
I thought I saw somebody post that. You know, if they were more this excited about, I don't know, East Jerusalem. What was it? East the train derailments. Wait, we get all these train derailments. Bridges are collapsing, but great googly moogly. $400 zillion, the most favored nation, and this is the least pro-Israel group ever. The entire freaking Fed is supplying them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The Biden
just in, Roger Goodell just announced Israel's getting an NFL team.
White House has been undermining Israel at every step of the way.
How?
But understand these sentiments are not new for Joe Biden. In 1982, when, by the way, I was 11 years old.
Yeah, you're young. There you go, Ted.
In 1982, Joe Biden was a senator from Delaware, and he confronted Israel's Prime Minister Menachem Begin.
There are still 4 battalions in Rafah.
Honey, you're the
so understand what
Alabama.
that means for the innocent people of Israel. We
Honey,
must do more. Never again
neck.
Is now. And I urge the President of the United States to not be the very first president to not stand with Israel. They are our greatest ally, and they deserve us to stand shoulder to shoulder with them as they fight the evil.
People referenced on Holocaust Remembrance Day, Joe Biden said, never again. Never again to the Holocaust survivors and Jewish Americans. Here he is saying one thing, but he does another. His words are empty.
So
this is why
we don't need Joe Biden being a mouthpiece for Hamas. We certainly don't need it in our White House. We need new leadership.
Israel is fighting a just and necessary war.
No, it's not.
Their knees are not trembling.
No.
As Prime Minister Netanyahu just said, they'll fight alone if they have to. But let me assure all the Israelis watching, you won't have to fight alone. You don't have a problem with
they could give a damn about the Palestinian people. They're religious Nazis on a quest to kill all the Jews.
Quest.
Roger. All right. Amen.
Damn, he's good. Yay.
I don't believe that. Again, that was the first time I saw that. What did I just hear? I mean, Israel, largest cumulative recipient of U.S. aid. Total aid from 1946 to 2023 by its fiscal year, $300 billion. And that's
a lot of money, man.
Where?
A lot of money.
There's actually a video. I should have got it. I didn't know they were going to say it. There's a reporter challenges one of the I can't remember the guy's young. I think he's Filipino, and he's basically asking the question: hey, did obviously if there's a treaty out there, if you have nuclear weapons, you can't get foreign aid. The U.S. cannot get foreign aid, and this came out a couple months ago, and people were saying, wait a minute, because the Israeli general said something. Oh, we're going to nuke him. Wait a time out in the back. That means you guys got nuked, right? Oh, yeah. Okay. So that just done. You don't get any more aid. You're null and void, kaput. No, they found a sidewinder so they can continue to come in. And then this guy asks, the journalist asked the guy about the war crimes that have been going on. And the guy kind of pussyfoots around saying, well, they said that they didn't do it. So technically, because they said so, we can still give them money. Because if they did, then we would have to stop giving them money. That's from the anti-Israel Brandon administration. That's so anti-Israel, they will find loopholes to literally send them tens of millions and billions of dollars.
And the fact that Republicans, once again, are being stupid Republicans, thinking that, well, they're not being stupid Republicans. They're doing obviously what they're being told to do, which is, support the most favored nation out there and making sure that they get all the support and all the money they need, and trying to make Biden look bad. Most of Gen Z and millennials and Gen Alpha don't like Israel. So when you come out, all the Republicans are doing is being boomers by being like, oh, we're Israel. Most of the people most of the future doesn't like the Israeli population. They just don't. And that you can say for whatever reason, they don't like the country of Israel because of indoctrination, which the left has allowed to happen at colleges and universities, whether it's TikTok, whether it's whatever. It's too late. That bridge has been crossed. They're not going back from that. And so, of course, Republicans have to stand there and take the L from Democrats so Democrats don't have to take the L themselves. But with Donnie, the T-man coming in saying that the Israelis have to finish the job and all these other kinds of things. And then Biden's only saying, well, I'm not going to give him the weapons because his administration is running around. Well, his regime is running around trying to play both sides. And they're hilariously doing it terribly. And so that's what we're looking at there as far as the entire Israeli debacle, because it is a debacle, not because of the tragedy of the fighting. The Middle East has been fighting until the Kingdom of Jerusalem we reestablished. The fact of the matter is they're going to fight. And people have different reasons why we support Israel. Some think that's because that certain group of people runs the U.S. Some people think it's because of military reasons. Whatever the reason is, we have way too much effort and time invested in this area.
Oh, they're using it for to impeach. They're saying Brandon now. So that was the first.
Congress are going to be livid about this issue
because
right here.
They think they have a good issue. Well, no. I get it. I think they think that he's the president of the United States. They're just politicians trying to take advantage of a situation.
Well, no, I think they support our ally, and maybe he doesn't. They're going to recall a time when we impeached the president of the United States for withholding military aid authorized by Congress from Ukraine. $400 million. That was the basis of the impeachment. This is congressionally authorized military aid to our ally, and he is withholding it for political reasons.
So wait 1 second. I'm sorry, it's your show. Go. The basis of that impeachment was that the president of the United States called the president of Ukraine, and he said, I want you to do me a favor and open an investigation on the person who I think may be my opponent in the next election. That was the basis.
And he wants Israel to stand down on Rafah because his base is mad at him. It's a political reason.
but wait, there's more. Hold on.
There's more.
Here's once a future king, DJ Trump.
Thank you very much. What Biden is doing with respect to Israel is disgraceful. If any Jewish person voted for Joe Biden, they should be ashamed of themselves. He's totally abandoned Israel, and nobody can believe it. I guess he feels good about it because he did it as a political decision. You have to do the right decision, not the political decision, but he did a very bad thing. I just want to let you know that we've just filed a major motion in the appellate division concerning the absolutely unconstitutional gag order, where I'm essentially not allowed to talk to you about anything meaningful that's going on in the case, and many good things are going on with the case. It shouldn't have been filed. They had this morning the top legal scholars in the country. This is a Frankenstein case. They took a dead misdemeanor, they attached it to a dead alleged federal felony and zapped it back into life. So many of us are just amazed to watch this actually walk into court because it's not a recognizable crime that any of us have seen. That's Jonathan Turley. I've been doing this for 60 years and I don't understand what crime he's been charged.
This is more of the trial, but hey, I really don't understand how anybody with a straight face can watch what's going on and go, wait, what? The boys from not South Park, but the one, wait, when did Tiddlywink? I mean,
right.
Israel, $3.3 billion in 2022 alone.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, Ukraine was 12. That was at the beginning, the glory of that was at the peak of the war over there, of our propping it up, and Israel's just getting off. I mean, that's like a Wednesday. Nothing was going on over there.
No, they've always been a huge recipient of foreign aid.
It's unreal how they think they basically think that we're all stupid. You're all a bunch of morons. You just turn on TV. Gee, tell me what to think. Click. And then, oh yeah, well, the most favored nation is getting attacked by Biden. Again, what's the number? It's got to, dude. I've been trying to look it up. It's got to be in the billions. It is in the billions. How many billions in just the last, say, October, 6, 7, 8 months? It's got to be almost $1 trillion been sent over there.
At least that we know of.
Every week there's a new post. 300 million, 400 billion, 700 billion jillion.
Yeah, and the fact is, people just become numb to it, so they don't even know. They're like, "Yeah, by the way, we're sending like another $5 gazillion to Israel," and people are like, "Whatever, dude. I can't afford groceries." So,
well,
I'm glad the people of Israel can.
That's what kind of the opening thing with Biden was. Someone they were going after him about the bad economy with inflation. Your dollar doesn't mean anything anymore. It doesn't go as far anymore. And he was, well, they have money to. Not to say that the eat your cake thing, let them have cake, was an actual real quote. And it was a propaganda. I just talked to Ryan about that. He'll get into that one more. But man, that literally was, well, John Gilly Wallers, I mean, it's $4 for gas. They have the money to pay it at least. Well, yeah, dude. I mean, come on, that's not what I mean. There's the credit cards declining. There was a report out the other day of was it Chase getting rid of their accounts? I just saw a video. Starbucks was in the red. It was not having a good time. McDonald's had a not profit month. Hey, good job, people not eating poison for first time in millennia, it seems like. So it's going down to tubers. And if that, like I said, if the economic numbers, the unemployment numbers ever go up, this thing's coming down faster than that bridge in Baltimore.
I can just give you an anecdotal evidence is that I work at the gun shop that I work at. We just started a consignment service, and within a week of it being opened, it's flooded. It's got more guns in there than we've had for a while because people are looking to sell things. Houses are going up for sale a lot more, folks. Why? Because people bought them in 2020 when they were buying houses. They're in mortgages they can't afford. Or maybe they could barely afford them under Trump. The economy was decent, but now the economy is in the tank. They're trying to sell and maybe get an apartment, but apartments are just as expensive, if not more. You can ask Steve about that, than houses. And a lot of people are in a lot of bad ways. And you could say, oh, they never managed their money properly. And maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But the fact of the matter is their federal government has spent them into oblivion by inflating and keeping the printer going and doing all these other things. And it's just really terrible for a lot of people in this union right now who are just struggling to stay afloat, and then have Biden be like, well, you have the money. It's like, that's kind of missing the point here. And we continue to see that with all of this. And so as we move on from Joey B, people are looking for alternative candidates. And well, there's one, let's do one last thing about the bombing of Gaza and the, what could happen in the near future with the parking lot that currently is Gaza.
Good night, everyone.
Yep, that's it. We're done. We don't need to talk about anything else. Yep.
Yeah. Smart city. Netanyahu's vision for Gaza 2035 revealed online. This is from the Jerusalem Post, which I'm pretty sure isn't a shield for Hamas.
No.
So they literally carpet bombed Gaza. Here's the plan. There's a 3-step program for returning Gaza to self-governments.
They call it the demolition stage when you build a house. You got to demo the old house.
Yeah, because they had a ceasefire, right? They had they said they were going to. Hamas said, by the way, which Hamas was created by Most Favored Nation and Benny, and they're being used. And if you were just remember that when you're hearing this stuff, that's kind of like Al-Qaeda, Al-Qaeda, the nickname for them. It's CIA group that the CIA created. They create the enemies that you're supposed to hate. They're working together on this. Hence why at the beginning of this whole thing, you heard Israeli military going, that's impossible what they did. They couldn't get around all this stuff. Probably an inside job. Why? Here's the do this. And remember, Israel was the experimental country for Pfizer during the Rona jab too. Yep. So hey, look at this.
They were proud to announce 95% vaccination, or
there's a video of Benny. He's just giddy over this, and he mentions, he literally says the words experimental. We were the experiment for it, and I'm proud of that. Hey, he's proud of using it on his citizens.
Yep. I'm sure he didn't get it.
Look at this. Look at this. Hey, we got a cabana up here in northern Gaza.
Well, they're going to turn it into a tourist attraction. That's what they're going to do.
And that whole thing with sending them, hey, we're going to have all these guys go to Ramid.
Rwanda.
What did they do the last couple of times? They tell people, hey, you're going to escape through this area because we're going to bomb them right there. It's that whole, what is it? It's not the Benjamin narrative, but they got some kind of plan out there that's not Solomon. It's one of the Old Testament names that they use it, and I'll remember it at 2 a.m. That is literally, it's okay to literally kill anybody for the good of cause. It's like a fatwa in a sense for Islam. It's okay, Allah allows it. These guys, it's the Solomon protocol. I think you just kill them all, and now they take over the land. I mean,
yeah, that's what they want to do, folks. And it doesn't, of course, what are they going to do with all the Palestinians? They're bringing them here. I hope you heard that. They're thinking, they're talking about bringing all the Palestinians here, because why not? Because we have all of them, and so we might as well take some more. So yeah, okay, we'll just do that, and let Israel do whatever they want.
Solar energy fields would be built along the Sinai, along the desalination plants. That will help offset climate change.
Of course, because we're in the middle of the desert. So yeah, you need to worry about climate change.
You can't make this up. Hey, yeah, where's Ben? Hey, Ben Shapiro. Where's Ben on this one? I want to see him applauding. Hey, you know what? I already developed. I bought that building right there. It's called Benny's.
Benny Tower.
I'm thinking of Superman 1 when you got Otisburg, Lex is going Otisburg. It's just a teeny tiny place. Shapiro have Shapiroville, just a little itty bitty place.
The Daily Wire is going to buy most of it, so
yeah.
The Daily Wire is going to be a huge sponsor.
Daily Wire, that's the Daily Wire building over here right by the tank. You see it over here on the right.
They got the one right by the river, because that's
this one here. It's Daily Wire. Looks like a wire.
Yep. Daily Wire Plus over there. That's where they're going to be filming all their stuff. But yep,
that's a Trump Tower over here.
Trump Jerusalem, and guess what? Jared will be running that one. So Jared Kush, the Kush will be running that one. So, or Ivanka,
Obama County's over on the left side. He's got the beach.
Yeah. The Joe Biden Memorial sidewalk will be somewhere around there. It'll be on the way to the old folks' home.
It'll be the Ukrainian section.
As you can see down the bottom, that's the NFL team. That's where the NFL team's going. Right
would be the Raiders. Would stick them over here.
Or the Rams. The Rams move around a lot.
Rams. Yeah, true.
Yeah, they'd be fine.
You can't make this stuff up.
So people are desperately searching for alternatives, and one of the very popular alternatives have been RFK, and a lot of people have liked RFK because of his one stance on vaccines. Of course, the longer he's on the campaign trail, the more you realize he's an idiot and a Kennedy. Need I say more? This was the Clinton red light district. I'm going to give that one some yep, we're going to give you a highlight on that one. That's perfect. Yep, the Clinton red.
That'd be around here where these little buildings are, or is that
in the outskirts of town? Yeah, that's exactly where it's going to be. That's exactly where it's going to be. And
I feel your pain.
Yeah, I do.
Depends what is.
It is down there, but this clip has made the rounds, and a lot of people have reacted to it. But there's more to it than you would see.
Well, we're gonna let's do this. Let's play the short clip, the meme version, because people can only deal with memes, and then we'll play the long one because I want us. Let's get the outrage outburst.
Okay.
So in other words, keeping it as is with Roe versus Wade having been overturned and leaving it up to the states to determine if and when a woman can have an abortion?
No, I wouldn't leave it to the states.
You wouldn't, right?
No, I would.
You would say completely. It's up to the woman.
My belief is we should leave it to the woman. We shouldn't have government involved,
even if it's full term.
Even if it's full term.
Ew, his socks are gross.
Everyone is literally going after him. He is endorsing late terms. I have never watched Temple. He came up on the street, hit me in the face. I wouldn't even know who the guy was. This is them, so I haven't watched it yet. Here's the reaction.
Abortion should not be regulated by federal or state laws. And probably one of the most shocking and probably the most extreme position held by any federal politician, RFK Jr.'s position, saying, I mean, this is a quote, even at full term. She said, Kennedy says, I don't think it's ever okay. I think we should do everything in our power to make sure that never happens. But I ultimately think nobody sets out to do that. And there are always some kind of extenuating circumstances that would make a mother make that kind of choice. A terrible, terrible choice. You can't overstate how.
He's kind of doing what we were talking about already. Notice he took that one, even a full term. That's all you were going to go with. That was all Tim was going to go with until he started reading the whole thing. He's still not going to change his mind, I think.
I bet it is. I think ultimately we have to trust women. The interviewer says even full term, to which Kennedy responds, even full term. Now let's analyze what he said. Nobody sets out to do that. My guy, murder happens all the time. Yeah. And people do set out to do it intentionally because they want to end a life for whatever reason. What he says in this interview.
And even that he's taken out of context. I watched the whole 5 minutes. I don't know how many people who watched the whole 5 minutes did. I saw everyone, their brother. Oh, there's one for you. Hey, call off the Amber Alert. We found Pro-Life Inc. They are out on Twitter right now. Everybody in Pro-Life Inc. has retweeted this, called him a degenerate, called him all kinds of names.
Which is a Kennedy, so he's already all that stuff.
Terrible on climate. He's a big Zion. He's out trying to out Zionist everyone right now. He's worthless too. They're especially. I mean, come on. Where's the pro-life? They just finally Abby's tweeting. I haven't seen anybody talk about Arizona. But all right, forget about Tim. Let's go to the whole 5 minute thing.
On what you've read, what we've heard over the last, let's just say, year, your stance on abortion is what?
I've been probably arguably one of the leading people in this country for medical freedom and for bodily autonomy.
Yes.
So, and I think with abortion, every abortion is a tragedy. Many of them leave permanent trauma on the woman. But I think ultimately, I don't trust government to have jurisdiction over people's bodies.
Now, anybody have a problem with that?
I mean, that is a very libertarian approach.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yes. I mean, does anybody trust government knowing what happened in the last 4 years, 2020, and what they just came out with AstraZeneca, with the whole thing, and they knew it. The CDC, there's an article by Steve Kirst the other day. CDC knew it. Is the time CDC lied and people died. Do you really trust the U.S. federal government, even states? Holcomb right now. Where's it at? Let me get. Where's she at? Sorry about that. There we go. Whitmer. Didn't mean Holcomb, but Whitmer. And issues emergency executive order over the avian influenza. Do you really? I mean, I'm no libertarian. I tried to be one back in 2010 when I ran in South Carolina. They didn't like me for my stance on being pro-life and anti-sodomy marriage type deal thing. That was before I came this way. But I don't trust the U.S. I don't trust any of the governments, any of this. So I'm with them, right? We're at this stage at the 45-second clip. I'm with them.
We needed to leave it to the woman, her pastor, and to her spiritual advisors or her physician, whatever, to make those decisions. I have to say this: that I have a plan that we've published, which is called More Choice and Fewer Abortions. And, that plan, something like close to 60% of abortions are among women who make the decision for economic reasons. And I think we need to do everything we can to make sure that women who want to bring their babies to term and are scared of not being able to afford them, that is never a consideration.
All right, as our friend says, stop the digital media file, whatever. Is that, as Tim Pool said, what do you say, the most extreme position of anything? Is that nuts? What he just said, is that crazy?
It's not crazy, it's not outside the realms of what other people would consider crazy. I don't believe it. You and I have made somewhat, not the same argument, but we've made arguments within that, within that ballpark.
Right. I guess I misworded my question. Would you consider him a degenerate for saying that? I mean, is that the words of an evil person?
No.
And there are so many. I love that. I mean, there's so many opportunities in Catholic charities. I mean, there's so many opportunities for women to make other choices. And sometimes it's just about them knowing and just about the education part of it.
It's also about child care.
Of course, but the finances always play a role in it. And you try to have a heart and not judge from afar, because no one understands what it's like when you're in those shoes. Should there be a limit? Or you're saying all the way up through full term, a woman has a right to have an abortion?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any woman ever in history has said, I'm going to have a baby, I'm going to get pregnant and carry that baby to 8 months of term, and then I'm going to terminate the pregnancy. I don't think anybody wants to do that.
That has happened too many times to count, though, where these
I'm sure it has happened. I would say in almost all those cases, there's extenuating circumstances.
Who knows? But I mean, especially when there's drugs involved and people aren't thinking clearly, at the end of the day, it is happening.
What I'm saying is I don't think any woman sets out.
Oh, they gave me a commercial. How come that's not the Trump shoes?
I'm saying I'm going to carry a baby for 8 months and abort.
Their first
sponsor, but they could change their mind at 8 months, and this is what
Would that be a logical position too? I don't know. I'm just guessing. How many people go, you know what? I'm going to get pregnant and I'm going to carry this kid for 8 months, and I'm just going to kill. That's the plan. Sarah wants to sit down, hear me out. Let's go get a baby right now, and then we're going to hold on to it for 8 months and then kill. So I haven't heard the words, I endorse late-term abortion. That's what everyone is saying that he said. I haven't heard that yet. Am I wrong?
Not yet.
So should they be allowed to do it full term?
Yeah. So again, I respect people who, I think there's a very, very good argument, a compelling argument, that the state has a interest in protecting a fully formed fetus. I absolutely think that that argument is very convincing. But again, I come down to the fact that I don't trust the state, and I think we need to trust the woman. And I don't think that that's a satisfactory outcome, because there's always going to be instances where bad things happen.
They're all, yes, we can't prevent
Either
that.
way, there's going to be bad things.
But so to leave, so in other words, keeping it as is with Roe versus Wade having been overturned.
Now, so far, we're what? I can't remember. We're 3 minutes and 44 seconds into this section. This is the clip that everyone's pushing.
And leaving it up to the states to determine if and when a woman can have an abortion?
No, I wouldn't leave it to the states.
You wouldn't, right?
No, I would.
You would say completely, it's up to the woman.
My belief is we should leave it to the woman. We shouldn't have government involved.
Even if it's full term?
Even if it's full term.
Okay. And I think that's what I wanted to clarify, because there are especially people in the middle trying to determine which way we go. And some people are one topic voters, correct? But with this issue in particular, it's a tough one. And I know there's no simple answer. And as a Catholic, that definitely is something that is a concern with many practicing Catholics, that it would be okay to allow a woman to do that.
I don't think it's ever okay.
Yeah, say still, she's a Catholic.
Hey,
it would be allowed. It would be allowed.
I think we have to leave it to the woman rather than the state.
Okay.
So I think we should do everything in our power to make sure that never happens, and everything that we can do. And but I think ultimately, nobody sets out to do that, and there are always some kind of extenuating circumstances that would make a mother make that kind of choice, a terrible, terrible choice, which is, you can't overstate how bad that is. And I think, ultimately we have to trust women.
That's the problem, though, is that he goes back to essentially believe all women, and that's the issue. We can go so far, Steve. Like, we don't want the state. You and I have been the very few to push back, like, no federal ban. Get out there and actually win your state referendums, and don't leave it to anybody else, and work from the ground up. But I think it's kind of a cop out at the end when he's like, we need to just believe all women. Right, we need to believe all women, and that's this and that's that, and I can't. He's kind of being a coward in that regard.
I don't get that part.
Like most of that stuff, you and I are in the same ballpark as him somewhere. Like, culture's got to change. We don't want to put the woman in the position of, if they had strong families, yada yada yada. Same stuff we've said all the time.
Yeah,
but then he cops out with the woman should decide.
If you shove a law in that you haven't converted anybody's hearts, you're going to get a worse response. So Jonathan's brought that up a couple times. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was kind of funny that the people that I see upset are the same ones who want a federal ban. Yep. And you talk about, and they've been copping out for, how are we on, years? And we'll throw Kennedy under. And is he a perfect candidate? Heck no. Like I said,
he's not even a P in the perfect.
No. And I don't know how he hasn't got something better to have just because he goes after big pharma. Those guys, you think that the Jewish lobby runs DC. But pharma runs that area, and he's big against those guys. So do we need we talked about getting us that don't trust the state? There ain't nobody watching that would agree. Trust the state 100%. There was Stossel did a video talking about how Trump did not drain the swamp. And he brought up back in the day with New York Subs, how that was a private sector company that built the subways in New York City. And then the private companies wanted to up the price from 5 cents to 10 cents because of government regulations. And by the time the government regulations got done with it, they couldn't afford to run it anymore. So the government gobbled it up and then jacked up the prices after they promised, we're not going to jack up the prices. Again, There ain't nobody. Here we go. And this is kind of funny too, that you're seeing this happen on the approved teams, Yankee versus Red Sox. When they see a third team come in, they don't like that.
He is a radical left person. So Republicans, get it out of your mind that you're going to vote for this guy because he's conservative. He's not. And by the way, he said the other night that vaccines are fine. He said it on a show, a television show, that vaccines are fine. He's all for them. And that's what he said.
He has said that before, yes, because I have watched a lot of this stuff. I've been watching this thing from since the doobly-doo has started up in 2020. Yes, he's one of those. He's not an anti-vaxxer, and he's been on the record for that for many years. He's been against a lot of this stuff, that like the 92,000 jabs that you get before you can speak, that idea. Mm-hmm. So he's against that part and making some common sense things. So he is pro injection. This is coming from the father of the jibbity jab, by the way.
Yeah. They're fighting for who gets to be the big daddy of pharma.
Vaccines are fine. He's all for them. And that's what he said. And for those of you that want to vote because you think he's an anti-vaxxer, he's not really an anti-vaxxer. That's only his political moment. He said it the other night. He's okay with the vaccine. Their energy costs are the highest in the United States, in New York State and New England, because of this guy, with the exception of California and Gavin Newsom, who's the worst governor in the state's history and one of the worst governors in the history of our country. I'd even take Biden over Jr. because our country would...
Notice how he said he takes Biden over Jr. So you got a name call just to belittle somebody, just like they do with all of us. You're the what they call the Trump supporters back 4 years ago?
Oh, deplorables.
Yeah, deplorables. It's always you have to name call your enemy to take away their humanity, in a sense.
Last about a year or two longer than it would with Jr. It would collapse almost immediately, and his family, a radical left, a crazy left, a bunch of lunatics, would take over, and our country will die very quickly. So RFK's views on vaccines are fake, as is everything else about his candidacy. He is not a Republican, so don't think...
Well, me too. I just want to ask the pro-lifers out there that are pro-Trump, what do you say about this? You're all over Kennedy for saying that he is for late-term abortions, which I did not hear him say, I am for late-term abortions. He didn't say that at all in the 5-minute clip. I mean, these guys are bringing it up saying he did. But where's this?
Cut it out, 10% of the Democrats don't want to see abortion after a certain period of time.
If a federal ban landed on your desk, if you were reelected, would you sign it at 15?
Are you talking about a complete ban?
A ban at 15 weeks?
Well, people are starting to think of 15 weeks. That seems to be a number that people are talking about right now.
Would you sign that?
I would sit down with both sides and I'd negotiate something, and we'll end up with peace on that issue for the first time in 52 years. I'm not going to say I would or I wouldn't. I mean, DeSantis is willing to sign a 5-week and 6-week ban.
Would you support that? Do you think that
I think what he did is a terrible thing and a terrible mistake.
I didn't hear the blowback as much as on that than I have on everyone saying RFK just ruined his
conservative ink is not being bankrolled by RFK. So that's really what it is.
There's no consistency. I was just saying, call it what you want. Yeah, we're definitely not for federal amendments or anything like that. And still one of those say, go convert your state, which you should. Because if you convert the people around, there was the Byzantines on the Eastern Eparchy were doing a novena. And one of the prayers for, was it today? Was today or tomorrow, or it was a mission thing. They do an idea of, after the prayer was go out and say hi to 3 strangers today or tomorrow. And imagine if we did that as a whole on our side, invite somebody to the mass during the week. We want to convert our areas, convert our land, convert our neighborhoods, or anything like that. Do we actually do? We're upset that one guy doesn't trust the state to end baby killing, which it hasn't done and actually has promoted for the last, 50, 60 years off lies. And the Trump organization, the last time he was in, increased, according to Leela Rose of Pro-Life Inc., the money, Planned Parenthood, went up. And when, not saying it's a bad thing that those states around, like Was it Southern Illinois has created it's like the Mecca now of baby killing because the states around have ended abortion, so they were flooding this one area. You're going to have that.
Mm-hmm.
How do you stop that? Do you go with them with a government's the force of a gun in a sense? Do you go them with the force of a government and say, not doing that? They're going to find a way to do it, or do you convert their hearts with laws? I mean, we just want, like you said, you want the lazy approach. We want to get somebody up there, do a federal ban, and then we're done because that's our hands are done. We don't have much effort in it.
Because liberals have always followed federal law, like with marijuana and immigration, and pick your topic. So you could make, and that's why I try to tell people, like, we should have a federal one. There's a lot of prominent Catholics that think that we should have a federal abortion ban at conception and so forth. And yeah, that's great, except for the fact that they will ignore it.
They're all
100% ignore it, and you didn't do the work of converting or winning the argument. You didn't win the argument, so the law means nothing.
Yeah.
So,
but that goes into they're all nationalists, just like in the Father R will say that everyone's modernist in some way. You're in the pool of water. You're in the contaminated water. You're going to get that stuff. Mm-hmm. We're all in a contaminated water thinking that this is one nation. So you got that embedded in your head since you were a wee lad when you went to state-run education camps, aka schools. From the moment you entered those rooms, your hand was on your heart. You're swearing allegiance to a flag that was penned by a socialist after the Lincoln administration for the one nation. And they under God didn't come into after 1950 with the Knights of Columbus putting that in. But you're indoctrinated over and over and over again. So how many of us, probably 30, 40 years, you've been indoctrinated for what? 35, 40 years, 40, 50, some even more. It's hard to take that. You think it's already, how come we can't, we'll sit there online. How come I can't get this Protestant to convert to the Catholic Church? I'm giving them good arguments. We can't get regular people to see that this isn't Russia and that DC isn't supposed to have this power. And it's the power at the state. You can't, it's almost impossible to convert a quote American to that mindset. You're so in USA. Yeah. That's it. The president can go ahead and bomb anybody he wants without any problems. No problem. Print all the money you want. And then you're like, oh, I got a constitution in my state? No one has it. But 99.9% of people don't have a clue their state even has a constitution.
Yeah, you can pick your issue. Abortion, guns, whatever the case may be, it's covered somewhere in your state constitution.
Yeah.
And everybody will just be like, well, what about the feds, or what about, because most people don't realize that they have a congressman and a representative for their state. Most people don't even participate in their local elections. So why wouldn't it be something like that?
And that's how you get, like in Colorado, you get outcome. In Colorado, you get a tranny as a representative of the state. You get a gay guy as governor. I mean, it's because you don't care about we're going to vote for, what we're going to do. Trump's going to do it, or Biden's going to do it, or
Trump's going to
name your person. Instead of focusing on where you got one guy that's going to convert the entire land to what we want. We get a T-shirt, the commemorative mug, some golf balls out of the deal, maybe some. Do you even get stock in Trump? Not Trump, Truth Media. If you got stock in that, maybe go ahead. But man, it's a religion, and it's hard to beat.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And so, that everybody's freaking out about RFK, and hopefully, we were able to show you a little bit of a different side to it, because it's not what is being promoted, which it most of the time never is on social media. But that's what we're looking at here, and so it is what it is. What else we got, Steve? Before we wrap it up.
That was really, we covered the three things. Let's show you a couple things that are on my mind for the others. Scanning around the floated rules online. The Rona strain flirt. They're breaking that up. They're breaking that in to get you ready for the summer. There was that came out the 7th of May, 3 days ago. So if you type in flirt, you're going to see 40,000 of the same things over and over again. They already got the propaganda brewing. UK, look at it. UK is already talking about it. 15% of confirmed cases. Virus continues to mutate. Get ready. they may quit that by summertime. Maybe the All-Star game kicks up. Maybe Caitlin Clark has a couple really good games, and this takes the back, the back part of the stove for a little bit.
Well, they have a choice between this or avian flu, so they really have which one.
Yeah, exactly. Pick one because because that's Grabman Witchworth. That's what we already said the day before. Flirt, and that's literally what it is. Came out. She decided to put an executive order over for the bird flu. That was
So
previously
they're testing which one is going to get more people scared.
Right.
Plus, you're going to have colleges are getting ready to dismiss in the next couple of weeks with graduations. What are these Palestinian protests? Where are they going to go? Are they going to stop? Are they going to move on into the middle of the cities? Is that going to be your summer of love version for this year?
There's evidence that Soros. There's evidence that Soros is funding that. So he'll eventually just get tired, run out of money. We'll fix something else because most of those guys have no idea what they're. We showed that clip last week. They don't even know what they're there for. But a couple things that are going under another one that's going underground for a lot of people. You're not. Well, just like how we talked about before. Being told what to see on one side, but you're not on the other. So TSA visited Google and Apple to discuss collaboration for digital ID. This came out April 25th, 2024. Remember this whole thing, Gaza?
Smart city. Yep. Smart city.
City of Wichita, talk about think locally, act locally, considering making microchipping your dog and cat mandatory. Because that shouldn't, that's natural, right? Your cat and dog is supposed to have a microchip in them, as I think Elon talked about the brain chip is working so far.
What happens if your dog gets, let me push back on that. What happens if your dog gets lost, man? Microchipping might not be too bad for the dog.
Trust me. I remember talking about this, because of the whole kids getting, human trafficking things. You talk about pulling on the heartstrings of parents. What if we put that chip in the kid? You're never gonna not gonna know where it's at. And if someone gets lost, we can track him. Easy one.
No.
Also,
it's with good intentions.
Yep. Oh yeah, darn right. Because then everyone's gonna have that. And, okay, with the cat and dog. What if the cat and dog gets cancer because you put a chip in the body of it because it's an unnatural substance? And the body reacts to, your cat's dead because you put or your dog's dead because you put a microchip in it.
I had a dog get throat cancer because she had the electric fence.
Because this gets at the heart of people. So you might, I love Fluffy, and I don't want, he keeps getting out of the fence. And by the way, that's a good way to.
Well, the only person that's in favor of this is obviously Kristi Noem, so she can find these animals and just put them out of their misery. So
I saw Barney, Fox Business, just went to town on, and that was the thing. Beck ended up posting a thing. Kristi Noem loses it over this. I was like, did she really lose that? She basically, pushed back because I'm tired of these questions. Going, you're on Fox Business. I get you're pushing the buck. How did that? This just shows the level of intelligence we want as news, as people media. You're not going to hear the TSA went to Google and Apple. You have to find alternate media for that. You're not going to find a lot of this stuff. But you will hear about the dog that Kristi Noem shot, which, tell me I'm wrong, Rick, isn't that more humane than sticking a needle in him and let him die with poison?
So the reason the dog got shot is because the dog was aggressive and was killing animals on the farm.
Well, yeah.
It was not being so.
But if you use
farm life, in real life, you got to, if it's between your livestock and one puppy that once it gets a taste for blood, it's not going to be able to be, that's farm life, man. And for most city dwellers and suburban people, they don't understand it because Fluffy is a companion and not a work dog. But if it's a work dog on a farm, if you look, when that story came out, all the farmers and people and outdoorsmen on Twitter were like, yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
It's a dog. It was a dog bred for work, and it was not doing its job, and it was going to make my crops and everything in danger. So you got to do it. So yeah, put, right in the correct spot, two in the neck, call today.
It's a cheap thing. Was $1 a bullet or something like that. And you didn't have to,
probably less depending on what you used.
Yeah. And she did it right. He didn't suffer at all.
No.
Or she could have taken it into the pound and they poisoned and suffer and die,
Yeah.
for $300, $400. But you got kind of like a local thing for me. Asheville's the reparations going through Asheville. Asheville, if you know Denver, Colorado, Asheville wants to be like Denver light. It's Hippieville beyond Hippieville there.
Yeah.
Chapter 11 bankruptcy looms for 3 popular retailers. Guess why? Because they took the Rona stuff. It was stuff that people were doing during that time, like Peloton. Beyond Meats is one of them too, by the way. That's great. But Peloton is one of those that here it is right here. $2,500 buy exercise bike requires a monthly membership to use. You don't have now. You can go to the gym, so it's having a rough time.
Peloton was built for the pandemic. That was a black swan for them. There was no way they were going to get off the ground without that. But now you can go outside too, Steve. You can go out and take a walk, and you don't need a $2,500 bike to do it.
Yeah, and remember those guys shut you down, and we're always remember that was one of the videos. Well, here's another one. Did you see this one from where's he at? I have it up here. Is this it?
Lou.
So how about with Cuomo?
COVID is back in the news.
Are you hearing people are quite nervous about getting the vaccine?
One of the professors who worked in the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine is a paediatrician who is one of the most intelligent, sensible and honest people I know. And I spoke to him. I was lucky enough to speak to him because I worked in a documentary that looked at the Oxford vaccine. And you know what? There is no conspiracy. There is no fake news.
The AstraZeneca COVID vaccine is being withdrawn worldwide after the pharmaceutical giant admitted it causes a rare and dangerous side effect.
Government had no capacity to enforce any of this.
Yeah.
You must wear a mask. And people wore masks in New York. But if they said, I'm not wearing a mask, there was nothing I could do about it.
Masks have been mandatory since April, and a fine for not wearing one took effect this week.
It was really all voluntary. Wear a mask. It is the law, and the law is the law.
People who have got conspiracy, maybe anti-vax views, who believe now that they were deliberately misled over these vaccines. They've been developed quickly because we've sped up the process to make it more efficient. We've still had all the safety checks in place. That has not been compromised.
AstraZeneca admits its COVID vaccine can cause rare blood clots.
Based on all the information we had, there was not enough to say that it was down to the vaccines.
Dr. Marco Cavallari, head of anti-infectives and vaccines for the EMA, told the Italian newspaper Il Messaggero, quote, "It is becoming more and more difficult to affirm that there isn't a cause and effect relationship between AstraZeneca vaccines and the very rare cases of blood clots associated with a low level of platelets."
You know, you talk about cancel culture and who to shame. Ivermectin, a dewormer, really?
They are shaming themselves. No one has to shame them. They're shaming themselves.
No, they need to be shamed. Yeah. They need to be called out and shamed, brother.
I am taking a regular dose of ivermectin. Ivermectin was a boogeyman early on in COVID.
You couldn't talk about it.
That was wrong. We were given bad information about ivermectin.
You're going to question the vaccine, but you want to take a horse dewormer.
Those clots happen for lots of other reasons, and they weren't happening at a higher rate than we would expect at that time.
Germany, France, Spain and Italy are all taking the precautionary measure of suspending use of the vaccine because of fears about possible side effects, including blood clots. The AstraZeneca vaccine has already been suspended in the Netherlands, Ireland, Iceland, Bulgaria, Denmark and Norway.
And it was extraordinary when you think about it, that society acted with that uniformity voluntarily. Wear a mask. It is the state law. It's not an option.
New York, tough. I love it.
Do these people not know the internet exists?
Hey, man, history is written by the winners.
Anyway, yeah, that's all I got for you.
Who do you have for your crime room and saint of the week?
Saint of the week, I'm going to go with whoever created this video.
Growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things. And I want the world open up to all of them because when you have their diverse voices innovating solutions through technology, then you're really addressing society's broader challenges.
If anybody, the whole thing with the suspend TikTok, which I can't believe that's even in DC. That should, again, divorce DC. I don't know what else to say. That should be my argument back. This is why TikTok should not be banned. I rest my case.
Yeah.
Cry room.
People like that, yeah.
We got the same stuff down in North Carolina here. We got the House passed the Shalom Act, mid-rise and anti-Semitism. I told my buds that have a group to protect the churches. We have a couple like that in this area that, hey, save this in case something ever goes down, because we're going to go to Raleigh and go, where's us? Because it says in there, talking about like less than 2% of anything. I don't know. It happened because of North Carolina University had something that happened a week ago or something. And so, and we have to do something. So let's go ahead and do that. And then it's always something dumb like that. Tillis is just worthless.
Yeah.
Put that together. But yep, that's
you have a new governor soon enough.
Yeah. We just need to get more people in the different areas to get in. Because right now they have a House majority. They can just, that's the problem. The GOP right there has got a House majority on there. That's where it came in. So the good guys are still not too bright.
No, never happened. Never
Quote unquote good guys.
Yeah. Saint of the week, Brick. You know him on Twitter as Brick. Brick's in the hospital right now. So pray for him. He's going back into surgery. Our prayers are with him, and we hope for a speedy recovery as well. My cry room is Warner Brothers for multiple reasons. One, they're making more Lord of the Rings movies. And the second part is there's a new Lord of the Rings movie called The Hunt for Gollum. The problem is on YouTube for about 15 years, there's been a movie called The Hunt for Gollum, just a 45-minute fan fiction film. Warner Brothers went after this small time filmmaker and copy struck and got it removed because it had the same name. Of course, they brought it back when everybody's like, you're a total D-bag for doing that. But you know, corporations being corporations. So they're my cry room for making more Lord of the Rings and then going after fans for having the audacity to do something 15 years before they did. So that's my cry room for that. All right, folks, that is it for this episode of News from the Pew. Late night News from the Pew. I'm about to go crawl into bed. So please like, subscribe, and share the News from the Pew. You can tell, folks, I am struggling. I am an old man. And if you've ever met me at a conference, you know that I'm always out. I'm always out by like 8:30. I'm not one of these guys that stays up late and doing.
I was gonna say, I saw you at a conference. You were jumping on top of the table because Fawaz was performing. This guy was ready to do some
that was at like 3 p.m. What are you talking about? That's when I was awake. And then I was in sleep by like 8:30. So don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't be spreading lies. All right, folks. I'll talk to you soon. Please like, subscribe, and share the News from the Pew. God bless.